This is the meeting of the Parking Authority of Fairfield. It's a regular meeting being held Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. The meeting time is 7:12, Sullivan Independence Hall, second floor, and also via conference call bridge.
Yeah, good evening. Thanks, Eileen. Looking at the agenda, the first order of business is the approval of the February 27th minutes. I took a look at them, and they looked absolutely accurate and reflected what we discussed last meeting. I'd like to make a motion to approve the February 27th, 2025 minutes of the Parking Authority Board.
I'll second. Rich?
All in favor?
Aye. Yes.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay.
And then next order of business is Eileen's office report.
Okay. So go over briefly the parking stats. In February, we averaged, when you include Fridays, 862 parkers per day, and excluding Fridays, it goes up to 909. March, month to date, it's 880, so a little bit higher than February, and excluding Fridays, it's actually 900. The fiscal year to date utilization of the lots, excluding Fridays, Fairfield averages 88%, which is pretty much what I've been reporting most months. Mm-hmm. Southport averages 56%, and that includes the Trinity lot spaces. The total overall average utilization for the fiscal year is 83%. If I include Fridays, of course, it drops, the percentages drop because Friday is such a low day, and it would drop to 75% for the total utilization. Day parkers in February averaged 250. In March, they've actually averaged 275 to date. We're only halfway through the month. And fiscal year to date, daily average is 260. In all cases, Fairfield makes up 93% of the parkers. For permit stats, we have sold about 2,000 permits, with Fairfield being 88%. In March, we sold 20 permits, which is why the number jumped. We still are 10% under the pre-COVID numbers, but we're moving up. Then on to some projects that have been happening. The HVAC work was completed, and we passed the final inspection. I met with the state last week, the week before, and so we're all set with that. I've been meeting for fire protection. We had to upgrade the panel and install new strobe and horns at the Southport Freight Station. That's completed. I'm meeting with vendors now for new fire protection systems in the Fairfield stations. I've received a few, but not all the proposals are in yet. So while I had hoped that we were going to be able to discuss that and make a choice tonight, I'll have to push it off to another date. I have alerted the DOT and the State Fire Marshal Office of the project, and they're in full approval of it, and just waiting to hear from us.
Okay, that's an important project.
What does that include? The system?
So
is it brand new? Is it upgraded?
All new fire system. I want to include such that, like, restroom, somebody pulls a pull cord, that would ring out because there's not always somebody in the station house. It used to be in the old days the ticket guy was there. Right. And so the light would go off and he would call on his landline phone. He'd call the 911. Yeah. So I want to have it all encompassing and really have a good system.
It's not sprinklers, it's going.
Yeah, it's an immediate call to the fire department.
Right. Or to the monitoring station, who then, so the monitoring station would call all of that.
Is that for Fairfield and Southport?
No, Southport already has that.
Okay, good.
So it's really just Fairfield that we need to upgrade the system. And with the spring weather now, I will start to address the platform poles, because I had mentioned that some of the bases are getting kind of rusty and from the salt over the years. So we need to have those looked at. I'm going to have to look at whether it's worth repairing or if it will be better to buy all new poles. And I talked to the state about it, and they're in full support, and they said too that, they'll cooperate with giving us flagmen and whatever we need to have that project done. We'll probably have to do them in stages, because you can't take all the poles down at once. There'll be no lighting, so.
Will we do an assessment of prioritizing just the?
Yeah, we'll have to figure out
Okay.
which ones go first. Some of them are closer together.
Right.
They're pretty much separate, but there are some areas where there's several poles in a row because of the Umpqua overpass. They couldn't space them out or something. Another thing is I had sent to all of you the grant paperwork. There's a grant and I thought we could try and apply and see if we could get the bike and scooter racks, because that was something that was on our list.
Yeah.
You can apply for up to $5,000 as their award. So it's due tomorrow, the submission. So I just wanted to get your feedback. If you're all in support of it, I will get it in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And racks on both sides, and scooter racks on both sides?
They would go, they will go at all 4 stations, because we have people. Fairfield has a lot of scooters. The other Southport has a lot of bikes. And we do have the bike lockers, but a lot of people ride their own, just ride a bike. They don't, they're not interested in a locker. Not sure why, but, whatever. That's their choice. So, I would do more of those kind of U racks, which I can show you, as opposed to these old time racks, which tend to move around and
I thought
they rust out. Yeah, they rust out. So that's what I've been looking at, and we'll see. So we'll hold off and see how quickly they make their decision on the grant, and then if we don't get it, then move forward in the
Will we get notified?
Another month or two.
You think we'll get notified within 30 days?
I don't know. I'm gonna try and find that out tomorrow. Okay.
Just in the spirit of spring cleanup, I know it worked well last year with the power washing.
Yeah, so I've already talked to them.
Okay.
And we usually, as a rule, do it like March, April, and then again in the fall.
Okay.
So they know that I'll be calling them again to do that. So we've made it like a regular thing, and I think it makes a big difference.
Stairs, the platform, and then whose responsibility is it on the Naughty Dolphin side? Is the tracks, the gutters?
The gutters. So that Public Works has done in the past, but
it's high up there.
It's really bad.
It's all blocked though somewhere. I don't think that's our responsibility. Is my point.
Yeah. Well, it's our maintenance, so.
So if there is something.
We have to do it. So I'm gonna talk to, James Ryan in Public Works. He's great, and he's very accommodating, so he'll give me some guidance on what to do.
If not, I'm okay getting a gutter.
Yeah. It might, I don't know. I don't know if the gutters are the problem, because that one area is always like that.
They're growing vegetation.
Yeah, it's,
All right. That could have longer term effects, so.
Yeah, right.
All right.
It could be leaking into the building, So that's my report. If anyone has any questions.
Just one other point. So I think I mentioned to you all that.
Oh, one more thing I did want to say. No, go ahead.
You first, no, please.
I was gonna say, I also wanted to pass around the capital projects.
Thank you.
So that this way, as I'm starting to, now that spring is here, we can do a little bit more.
Yes.
I wanted to just show you some of the things that were, on the list the last time. We kind of keep updating this and adding things on, and sometimes the state will have us add things. And if there's anything.
Did you email this to us?
Did I email it today?
Have you emailed?
Yes, I have in the past, but, I update the amounts as we get closer to it, and I start getting the quotes and the bids.
Can you email us?
Yes, absolutely.
I want to send it to these guys.
Here.
Because it clearly contradicts
What's profits?
Their amount that they think the capital projects going forward are far excessive of $25,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of them, you know, the price is TBD because we haven't gone out to bid for it. So,
It could be higher,
and I
could be
don't really
lower.
wanna guess at what that might be, like the windscreen removal, that's something that we need to do. And you know, that's gonna take a special firm to remove it.
Where's that?
Those are those yellow and blue screens on the platforms.
They're by,
People use them as bulletin boards.
Oh, right.
yeah, it's right by the station, right? Station,
Yeah.
and then,
Okay, you're right.
Yep.
Yeah. But these are all estimates unless I have a quote, then I update it. Like the fire systems, I haven't gotten the quotes yet. I have two, but,
Okay.
I'm gonna wait. That was our estimate of it, and we'll see. Hopefully it will come in at around that amount.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I will email it to you right now.
Do we take a motion, a vote on the fire now, or how do we?
So
do it next
we have to wait until we have all the bids.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm talking with a number of larger companies, so that, I think it's definitely worth waiting.
You know, it's interesting, Eileen, so there was that one poll, remember the morning I called you and that one? So are the polls in the parking lot, I guess a couple things. Number one, they don't really stand out, I mean, they're brown
Yeah,
against black.
yeah.
And then there's nothing around the base of those poles that prevents somebody from,
Yeah,
You know,
those are UI poles, and what UI has been doing is that when they get knocked down, or when they get, damaged
Yeah.
for whatever reason, could be windstorm, who knows, then they put the cement base
Okay.
on, but
I
they're
noticed
not,
that with that one.
they're not proactively doing that. I guess, my guess is that they have this issue all over, so
Right, yeah. I mean, it's not a big issue, but,
No, but it is much better when we
Right.
have the cement, because, people, even if they're just,
Yeah.
backing up, they may not realize and they hit
and it'd
it.
be even just
And
painted a
they're
different
so,
color. Yeah.
they're so narrow
Right.
that it doesn't take much to move
Right.
it.
Yep. Yeah. Any additional security cameras or anything that we'd want to enhance?
Well, I think, we did talk to the firm that put these in for us about extending it down, and that would require running more conduit down the lot. And you could only, you can't get a camera that's gonna cover to
Right.
here, and then the one at the back wall to cover to there. There's gonna be some gaps. But we did talk about, you guys as a board talked about whether or not you wanted to add more cameras at some point in the lot. I mean, it's a tough thing. I've talked to the police about it, and their feeling was, you do everything you can, but you can't. You
Right.
can never cover every inch, anywhere you go, grocery store, they can't cover every part of the lot.
And,
But if you feel that there's a need, then you should look into it.
and then we don't pay for the police security. Yeah. Look, I mean, I've come back at all different times of the evening, and
Still there.
they are still there.
Yeah.
So
Right.
to
They're
me,
there
that's
till
a less
12.
expensive solution
They're
too.
there till 12, yeah.
And they are following people to their cars, and it's pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
that's their
Great
service, yeah. If they try and, especially if somebody's parked
Yeah.
really far down, they'll
They
gladly
don't follow me, they
you.
let me fend for myself.
But they'll gladly
Yeah, no,
do
it's great.
that.
So, yeah, I mean, my feeling is that that's
Yeah.
fine.
It's reassuring.
Okay, so that's all I have, unless anyone else had any questions.
Just one quick follow-up, and
Yeah.
I know you all are gonna look at me with daggers, but, I did reach out to my friend at Fairfield U about volunteer maintenance, along the fence line and other things, and, she said that, which group was it? there's a group that's interested in helping out, coming over from time to time and cleaning up. Yeah. So
Okay.
I told her to wait, just given all that's going on.
Yeah.
If you'd like for me to reach back out to her, I can pursue that if that's something you all would like me to do.
It's a cleanup,
Yeah.
volunteer. I'd be in favor of that.
Okay.
I mean, it can't hurt. It's free, and
Right.
if we can supply refreshments or something.
Okay. I'll reach out to her. Greg, you okay with that?
Sure.
No,
As long as it matters.
I didn't know if I wanted to use the G word, garbage and trash.
Mhm.
All right, I'll gently follow up on it and see
Yeah,
what,
that's great.
that's all that I had to interrupt your flow.
No? So now we're on to the next.
Oh, yes, the
item.
next agenda item is permits and day fees, subpoints, survey review, and pricing.
Yeah. So Chris sent out the Northeast Corridor
Yeah.
fees to all of you, so, from what I could tell, from what I looked at and talked with her about, there
Super
wasn't a
competitive.
lot of changes across the towns. And I think we're still,
At the lower end.
we are on the lower end of it.
And we offered a cheaper alternative for Southport.
Yeah, and, we did hold our COVID prices, we reduced them and held them,
Yeah.
lower, at that lower rate longer than most of the most of the towns either didn't reduce or, because they just left it as is, and they figured when people came back, they would address it. Or they brought it back up by FY '22. So we did, in the last time we increased our permit fees was in fiscal '24 last year. And that's when we returned it back to the pre-COVID rate, which was, which is 400 and 300. And so my recommendation to you, but you guys discuss, is that I think that we should just hold it there. It seems to be, covering our expenses, and we're able to do a lot of good capital projects, which I think at least we've had a few people over time when we've had different things go on that call and say, it's nice to see that our permit dollars are being used for good projects.
Yeah.
So we've gotten good feedback from it.
It's to broadcast all the reinvestment that we're doing. I think it bodes well for the parking authority, commuter, and
Yeah.
it just demonstrates that we're committing to safety and just the reinvestment back into the station. So.
Yeah. So.
And my question was gonna be, you answered it, was
Think
by
about-
keeping it at 400 and not raising it, is there something we can't do? Because we don't have the additional revenue that we would like to do, and I think the answer is no.
I think
So-
we're in good position now to,
Right.
and we've been pushing through more of the projects. There's a couple of years when we lost money, we kind of
Right.
held back and we did the necessary things that the state asked, but now the last, couple of years, we've been doing more proactive projects, and I think, we have a list now of even more that
Right.
we'd like to do, and I think all of them will really make some of them, like, if we change the lamppost, people probably won't even notice, but it is a safety issue, and it is something that's needed. Whereas if we replace the benches, people will notice that right away. So there's certain things they will, and certain things they won't. So do you guys want to take a
motion,
vote
request a
on what
motion.
you want to do with the permits and day fees?
So the motion, I think, would be what? To maintain the permits and day fees at the current levels of $400 per year in Fairfield, $300 in Southport, and then $650 for the day fee.
I'm in favor.
Second, second first.
Okay.
Now, anybody opposed?
No.
Motion passes, the fees stay flat.
Yep.
It is.
Thank you for another year.
Yep.
Yes, we thank you.
Okay.
And then the last item is just, I'd like to if there's anything else to discuss, any business to discuss before we adjourn? Or before I request a motion to adjourn?
I second your motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody? Okay. Motion passes. Our meeting is adjourned at 7:32.
Excellent.
Not bad.